I'm recording now.
Okay.
All right. Well, you're aware that this individual has been associated with the family since early on in the investigation. And can you confirm that some of the information that he has is accurate? And what do you have to say about his allegation that you're just not willing to work with him in any way?
So, yeah, good question. So we are aware of the investigator. We are aware he has been involved in this from pretty much the get-go, about the same time we got involved. We have not refused to work with him. Our detective has corresponded with him. What I am led to believe that he has the information he has to share or he has about the case and that has been shared with me, we are aware of. So I'm not aware of any other information that he may have developed, but from what I have heard that he possesses, we are aware of that, and we are following up and have been following up. This is an active investigation. Our detectives are actively working this case. They are conducting follow-ups. They are obtaining evidence. They are interviewing and pulling on all loose threads that we have to get to the bottom of what happened to Maya Millete. As anybody, we will not refuse to work with anybody or any agency at all. Now, understand that we do work within the law and we have to follow procedure. If this ends up in a courtroom and we're in a criminal prosecution, we have to stand by the sanctity and the procedural correctness of our investigation, and so we are limited by what the law will allow. Recognizing
let me back up, because he's basically coming forth with a lot of circumstantial evidence that Larry had made threats to witnesses, that he wanted to kill Maya. He was obsessed with believing she was having an affair or multiple affairs, and that he had texted, these biblical quotes, just kind of threatening to kill her, and also made a threat to kill one of her alleged boyfriends in trying to find someone to kill him for $20,000. And he's also talking about a missing freezer. And in that particular case, he says he learned that there was a freezer missing from the garage, and he specifically told the Chula Vista police about that, but the Chula Vista police didn't follow up on that lead. So.
Okay, good point. So, yeah, there are a number of bits of information that are circumstantial in nature about this. And so the information that you described is much of it is what we possess. We're aware of these things, and they are circumstantial in nature. As to his understanding of what we have or have not done, we obviously, as I mentioned, we're keeping our cards very close to our chest on this, and we're not sharing aspects of the investigation for a variety of reasons, because we want to make sure we don't jeopardize the investigation. So we are aware of the instances he's described, and he may not be aware of what our detectives have done, but we have in fact followed up and conducted follow-up and continue to conduct follow-up on everything that we have. And so we may not be sharing that with Mr. Little, and I understand that may not be preferred. But I can assure you that if Mr. Little or anybody has information regarding any statements by anybody in this case, or has any information about who we should interview or who we should talk to, or an area where we should search, then then absolutely please come forward so that we can investigate those. And if there is something, and this has been shared publicly, if there is actionable information for us to share with the public as far as a place to go look for Maya, we will be the first in line to organize and put out information to obtain the help that we need. And that goes to the public. It goes to our regional partners. It goes with any resource. If we don't possess the resource, we will go get the resource. And so I understand there's a lot of frustration with the community and with the family as well, because they want answers, and there are none at this point, and that causes people to wonder what's going on, and we get that, and I wish we had answers. I hope to God we find Maya somewhere safe, and she was just going through some personal stuff, and we find her safe. That being said, we do keep in contact with her immediate family on a regular basis and provide them what case updates that we can. I'm not sure to what extent Mr. Little is involved in those. I understand he's been doing some of his own investigation, which is great, and I would continue to say that if he has information, he should share that with us, understanding that may not be we may not sit down and say, here's everything we've got, and you show us everything you've got, and it may not be a 50-50 equal splitting of information. We're more than likely going to want to know what the information is, and then we're going to go our way and do our investigation. That may or may not be what he prefers or what other people prefer, but unfortunately, that's the way that we investigate these cases.
Do you think that you're going to need to find her remains before any criminal charges could be brought?
That's a good question, and I don't know the answer to that because you're asking me to predict what may happen in the future. I will tell you that if and when we are able to develop probable cause to arrest a suspect in this case, or if we're able to at some point determine a crime, if enough evidence to ascertain a crime occurs, or is obtained, then we'll go forward from there. I hope and pray that we're not looking, you mentioned her remains. I hope that we're not talking about that. I sincerely do. It has been 3 months, and I know a lot of people are thinking along those lines, but we haven't given up hope that we find her somewhere and she's just going through, some sort of a personal crisis. We've seen that before in some cases, and that's our sincere hope. However, we are objective in nature, so if there's something, at some point, if we learn of evidence, obtain evidence, and it points to a crime or evidence of a crime and then helps us determine who the perpetrator of that crime is, we'll follow that up to the fullest extent and move forward. But I can't predict how or what that will look like.
One of the questions the family has is, can't you give them a general area to search? Because as you know, they have lots of volunteers who are willing to search.
100%.
Certainly, I understand you don't have a specific area for them to search, but don't you have a general corridor that you can assist the family in helping them where to search?
I will say that if we knew of where to go and had an idea of where they could search that was consistent with what we know or believe, or what we believe was traveled, the route that was traveled, yeah, we would share the information. But at this point, we are still working to determine exactly where those areas may be. And so we're exhausting all aspects of investigation as far as trying to determine where that might be and to nail it down 100%. And so absent very specific information, that's the hard part. Is we can give a general description of where things might go, but the problem is it's not based on anything other than a desire for people to do something and a desire to let them go out and search, and it may not be accurate. And that's part of the problem is we don't want to create a bunch of busy work and mobilize people when in fact it may not be accurate information. And so we're going to be very careful with sending out folks, or mobilizing folks or giving people, information to help us if it's not accurate. That's just not good. It's not a good practice. It's not a good habit. It's not safe for a number of reasons. And so if and when we have information that we can provide that gives us, specific areas, will we share it? Of course we will. We would absolutely use the public's help. They're very organized, and the family's group of friends. We're very appreciative of that and understand that if we could in any way, shape, or form give them something that was useful, we would. But my fear is that anything we give them at this point is not going to be based on anything but conjecture. And so I know they have tracked where she's hiked and that they have looked for areas that they have gone. We're still digging into that as much as we can, and still looking for evidence that will help us narrow things down. But at this point, we don't have anything that is beyond conjecture, and it would be a shame to send them out on something when again, it's this is a broad area we're talking about, and so we don't have anything concrete to pinpoint. It might be pointless, and we don't want to send them out needlessly.
Is there anything else you wanted to Hold on. Okay.
If you would add in that, hey, we continue to work this, if you would add in some language about anybody that has any information whatsoever, no matter how small, please share it with us. We continue to get tips on a regular basis. We investigate those, every single one that comes in, and so no matter how small, it might be the piece that helps us.